In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to add decimals and whole numbers. Here's a real-life situation you would need to use this skill. I'm having lunch at the Skyline Bistro. I want to order a lunch combo, which costs $7, and a coffee, which costs $1.49. How much money do I need to spend in all to get both the lunch combo and the coffee? Here are two rules you need to follow in order to add these numbers up. The first, always line up the decimal. If you look, you have $7 here and $1.49 here. I see the decimal in $1.49. It's right there. But what about the decimal in 7? Here you have to go to your second rule. If a number doesn't have a decimal, give it a top secret decimal at the end. So here's 7. I'm going to put a decimal right at the end of the number because it didn't have one before. Now that both numbers have a decimal, I can line them up like this. I start with 7 and I add a decimal at the end. Now I'm going to do 1.49. I'm going to put my decimal first. 1 goes in front. 49 goes after the decimal. Adding these two amounts. Just like with whole numbers, if you have empty spaces like here, you can add what's called a 0 or a placeholder. Now I just add like normal. When you get to the decimal, make sure to drop it down in your answer. To buy my lunch combo and coffee, I need to spend $8.49. Here's a common mistake we see 5th graders make when they're first learning this skill. So be on the lookout for this error. Don't move the decimal to a different place. Take a look at this problem. I want to add 3 wholes and 2 tenths to 10 wholes. I start with 3.2 and I want to add 10 wholes, so I put my 10 there like that, and then I remember that I need to line up my decimal, so I just put it right here. Think for a second. What's wrong with where I put my decimal? Hopefully you noticed that I didn't put my top secret decimal at the end of 10. I'm going to do so now. Here's what your problem should look like. 3.2. Put your decimal below first. 10 goes in front of the decimal, side to side, so it goes top to bottom in front as well. And then add any placeholders. Let's try a few more examples together. This time I'm adding $3 to $10.25. I want to line up my decimal, and if I don't have a decimal, I'm going to add a top secret decimal at the end. Here this 3 is missing a decimal, so I'll put it at the end. And now I'll just line up my decimals and add up my numbers. 3 wholes. Put my decimal first. 10, 25. And then I'll add placeholders in any of the missing places. Right here, here, and here. And then add my numbers up. Don't forget to drop your decimal. 3 wholes plus another 10.25 gives me 13 wholes and 25 cents. Let's try another one. Here's a word problem involving the same skill. Michael is 5 feet tall. Glendale is 1.235 feet taller than Michael. How tall is Glendale? To find out Glendale's height, I'm going to have to add Michael's 5 feet to Glendale's 1.235 feet taller. One good habit to get into is set up the problem left to right before you stack any numbers. Here I have 5 holes added onto 1 hole and 235 thousandths. I have to remember to put my top secret decimal at the end of 5, right after the ones place. If I do all these steps, I shouldn't have too much trouble adding the numbers up. Let's do that now. 5 holes. Put your decimal first. 1 hole goes in front. 2 tenths, 3 hundredths, 5 thousandths. And don't forget your placeholders. Based on my calculation, Glendale is 6 and 235 thousandths feet tall. When I go back and take a look at my answer, I think it makes sense because Michael was 5 feet tall, Glendale was taller than Michael, and I know Glendale's height, 6.235, is taller than Michael's original 5. My answer makes sense. Here's a practice you can do to work on this skill. Work at your own pace and jot down any questions you have. Good luck.